Hey, what's up, YouTube? It's T. I'm chilling in Rosarito Beach, Mexico, in Baja, California, which is about 20 miles from the U.S.-Mexican border. And I just wanted to talk about something that has been on my mind for some time, actually for quite a while. I've been visiting Mexico since the 80s. At one point, I lived in Mexico City when I was on my way to the United States, coming from Nicaragua. And so I've always had an affinity for Mexico. Mexico has always been a very welcoming and embracing country to me. And living in Los Angeles, I've always been plugged into Mexican culture. So from living here to living in LA, I've known a lot of people from Mexico or that are of Mexican descent. Whether that be the food, the music, the TV programs, some of the slang. My cigar's not working with me. Anyway, one thing I've never understood about Americans in general, and specifically people from Southern California or even California, period, is they don't visit Mexico. Like, they're like afraid of coming here. And I don't understand that shit because, like, it's right here. Like, a lot of Americans act like Mexico is this far off land that's like across the ocean or thousands of miles away. And we as Americans share a border with Mexico, just like we do Canada. And it just fascinates me how many Americans I've talked to throughout the years in California, in Los Angeles, from other parts of the states that have never come to Mexico. Not even out of curiosity. Like, I've never understood that shit. And of course now, you know, with the Trump administration, and honestly, with every administration, it's really ramped up now under Trump. There's always this villainization and vilification of Mexicans and Mexican people, and of course Mexico, period. And whenever you see Mexico in the news or you hear about it, it's always negative things. It's always about drug violence, cartel violence, kidnappings, murder. They never show how beautiful the country is, that it does function, that, you know, you can be at the beach having a good time, everyone's going about their business, living their life, just like in California or Texas or New York. No one's tripping. But to know that, you'd actually have to come. And it's just always baffled me and fascinated me that Americans act like this is like a far off country in some far off land. And even people, Angelinos that live in LA, that, you know, are around Mexicans, even some Mexican Americans that live in LA that I've encountered, don't have any clue as to what the fuck is going on in Mexico. You know, they don't know nothing about the land, they don't know nothing about the culture. I mean, yeah, what their parents taught them, but like, for example, you know, when I've like come back from Isla Mujeres or Tulum or Cancun or Puerto Vallarta, you name it, and they see my pictures and I tell them stories and about how I traveled throughout Mexico and all the things I encounter and how the people are nice to me, the food, you know, all the locales. Like, they're always blown away by that shit, and, you know, they always follow it with, you know, well, you need to be careful when you're out there. And it's like, okay, well, you know, I need to be careful in LA. But it's just crazy to me that they are afraid of this place. Like, they don't know anything about it, and it's right there. I mean, like, you literally cross the border and be in another country. And we as Americans, not me, but as a whole, they treat Mexico like it's some mystic thing, like it's Iraq or Afghanistan, and I don't get that shit. I mean, just like they're neighbors, like they're trading partners. We have a strong relationship with Mexico, even with Trump. Like, we still trade with them. You know, we still have all kind of bilateral agreements. We still have all kind of, you know, shared mutual interests, other than just immigration. But I notice a lot of Americans, like, fuck the government. Like, Americans personally, they don't ever take the time to come here and to see the place. And I'm not saying all Americans, obviously, you know, I'm Nicaraguan American. I come here And like I said, even if it wasn't for the fact that I lived here as a kid, I would still come. Just like I went to Canada because I wanted to know, like, hey, Canada's our neighboring country. I want to know what's going on there. So to be fair, a lot of Americans don't go to Canada either. They don't know what the fuck is going on in Canada. They've never visited, even for a day trip. I mean, like if you live in LA or San Diego, you literally can cross the border and come to Tijuana for a day and look around, try some food, drink some beers, fuck some whores, talk to some people. Or just stand there and see what's going on. It's not gonna kill you. And I think that's what people have in their head, but I don't get it because I have met people, that they will get on a cruise ship and go to the Caribbean, or they get on a plane and go to Europe, but they will not visit Mexico. And it's very strange, I mean, Canadians aren't like that because every time I'm in Mexico or Central America, Latin America, period, I always meet Canadians, I always meet Europeans that literally come from a whole country over or from across the Atlantic just to come here, and they have a great time, and they always laugh at the fact that Americans don't visit here. And I just don't get it. I really don't understand what the apprehension is, what the fear is. And I understand, the U.S. government and the U.S. media does a lot of fear mongering, and I know a lot of the cartel violence has scared people. But when it comes to Mexico or a neighboring country, you would think they would at least give it a try, but they don't. And I'm here to tell you, there's beautiful beaches, there's beautiful ancient ruins, there's colonial cities. Of course, the food is great, the people are nice. I've always been treated with respect. I've always been treated very kind by people. I mean, I've even been in situations where Mexican people have went out of their way to help me, whether that was I'm stranded, or I needed directions, or I needed something to eat or whatever, and I was in a pinch, and our budget wasn't working with us. They've always been there to help. I mean, I've had store owners straight take us to our hotel when it's raining, and I've just never got any of the negative shit that the media portrays, and that I hear Americans who have never been to Mexico, the things they always tell me, and that's what I find fascinating. Also, is that a lot of the negative stuff you hear from my fellow Americans are from people that have never even been here, or they did come to Tijuana briefly, and they ran back across the border because they're terrified. But the further south you go, it just Mexico becomes less touristy. I mean, yes, places like Cabo and Cancun and Puerto Vallarta, they are geared towards tourists, but even in those cities, if you wander away from the tourist zone, there's regular neighborhoods with regular people doing regular shit, just like in the United States. And yes, is there crime? Of course. I don't typically encounter crime in Mexico, just like in LA, because I don't go to those areas. Do things happen? Yes, they happen everywhere. And I just don't understand, how people will freely visit Chicago, and they won't be like, well, I'm not going to Chicago because in Southside Chicago there's violence, or I'm not going to Detroit because in Detroit there's violence, or I'm not going to LA because in LA there's violence. I mean, that's retarded, because all of LA doesn't have violent shit going on all the time. And when people say I'm going to Los Angeles, no one says, hey, be careful, there's a drug war going on over there, or there's gangsters in LA. See that? That was like a gunshot. No, I'm just kidding. It's fireworks. Anyway, but that's the shit people think, that crap's just going on here. I mean, right now you have a bunch of families. You do have Americans here right now. The ones that aren't scared. They're not scared. You got people in the ocean. The ocean's beautiful. You got people getting smashed over there. People dancing. There's a nice hotel here. I mean, there's teenagers over here smoking weed. Everyone's just doing their thing, just like in the United States. And I just wish more Americans would just give Mexico a chance and stop being so fucking scared. Stop being afraid of everything. Turn off the TV, get off your ass, and come down here. You'll have a great time. Give TJ a chance. And if you like TJ, give Rosarito a chance. If you like Rosarito, give Ensenada a chance. And just keep going. Go to Mazatlan, go to Mexico City, go to Puebla, go to Oaxaca, go to Palenque. Just check the whole fucking place out. And trust me, once you do, the travel bug will bite you, and you'll be like, wow, Mexico's a really fucking cool place. Check out Canada too. You know, stop being so scared of our neighbors like they're a neighboring country. Stop treating your fellow Mexican citizens like they're the enemy. You know, like they're the Taliban or some shit. You know, stop treating people like they're out to, you know, get you, or they've done something wrong to you, because they haven't. You know, Mexico's always been there for us, and we've been there for them, and we share a mutual friendship, just like we do with Canada. Anyway, that's all I wanted to say.